Tonight I'd like to talk with you about immigration. For more than 200 years, our tradition of welcoming immigrants from around the world has given us a tremendous advantage over other nations.
Actually, I would like to talk about this. This is one of the key points that it's a red herring from the very beginning, because it assumes that all of us don't believe in immigration. Everyone I know believes in immigration. So, but look at the technique that he's used. He's basically made it immigration versus non-immigration, or anti-immigration, those that don't want immigration. So he started out with a red herring.
It's kept us youthful, dynamic, and entrepreneurial. It has shaped our character as a people with limitless possibilities. People not trapped by our past, but able to remake ourselves as we choose. But today, our immigration system is broken.
Okay.
And everybody...
Again, I'd like to talk about this. This is the point that they always come back to. Actually, the part that's broken about illegal immigration is the enforcement part. It wouldn't be, it's not necessarily it doesn't work, we just simply don't enforce it. Another red herring.
He knows it. Families who enter our country the right way, play by the rules, watch others flout the rules. Business owners who offer their workers good wages and benefits see the competition exploit undocumented immigrants by paying them far less.
Okay.
Let's take offense.
Another interesting point right here is that basically what he said in that segment was actually true. But his plan does nothing for those individuals. His plan hurts those individuals that are done it the right way, the businesses that have done it the right way. And so he brings this up as if he's going to help these individuals, where nothing in his plan helped those individuals.
To anyone who reaps the rewards of living in America without taking on the responsibilities of living in America. And undocumented immigrants who desperately want to embrace those responsibilities see little option but to remain in the shadows or risk their families being torn apart.
And again, this point right here is basically that these individuals have no choice. In other words, that they got here not because of anybody else's, not because of their own fault, but because of the systems. Again, it's everybody's fault but their own.
This way for decades. And for decades, we haven't done much about it.
Again, this point right here that we haven't done, many of us actually have been trying to do something about it for the last 20 years. And we've been met for the last 10 years of my political experience by those that didn't want to do anything about it. So it is unfair to say that we all haven't been trying to do anything about it.
Committed to fixing this broken immigration system. And I began by doing what I could to secure our border.
Again,
today we have more agents.
He has not done what he can to secure his border. He's specifically told agents not to enforce the law. What more? All the border guard in the world aren't going to do anything if they're not allowed to do their job. That's both on the border, actually, and in the interior, where it's actually a bigger problem.
And technology deployed to secure our southern border than at any time in our history. And over the past 6 years, illegal border crossings have been cut by half.
Well, there's a couple reasons for that, and I think it's important. Number one is actually the economy. The other problem, though, is on how they estimate how many people are coming across the border. Well, if you don't apprehend as many people, then those estimates actually of those numbers that are crossing actually go down. So if they're only apprehending a third of what they used to, what they're basically implying is a third as many people are trying to cross the border, which is actually, there's no proof of that.
Although this summer there was a brief spike in unaccompanied children being apprehended at our border, the number of such children is now actually lower than it's in nearly 2 years.
Okay, look at that point that he just did. It's lowest and that it's been in 2 years. He's not going back very far, 2 years. Well, that's not saying very much. And again, you look at the economy, you look at not enforcing it, and then specifically that spike was very significant. To have many estimates say as much as 150,000 kids cross that border by themselves, that's significant. And many of us actually warned that this would happen if we didn't do anything about illegal immigration. We're actually enticing those kids. They know that if they come, they're not going to be deported. There's, by some reports, less than 100 of those kids have actually been deported. So there's no downside for those kids to try to come here.
Overall, number of people trying to cross our border illegally is at its lowest level since the 1970s.
That number just infuriates me. Again, it's based on estimations. And when you're not apprehending, the estimations go way down because you're assuming that for every person that we catch, 5 are getting through. Well, if you stop catching anybody, those numbers are going to go down. So if you only catch 20,000, you're going to say that 100,000. Instead of what we used to catch is 500,000, we estimated that 2.5 million people were coming through because we caught 5 million. But that's a very function of, they control that. They manipulate that number.
Those are the facts. Meanwhile, I worked with Congress on a comprehensive fix. And last year, 6 Democrats, Republicans, and independents came together to pass a bipartisan bill in the Senate. It wasn't perfect. It was a compromise. But it reflected common sense.
Again, this is completely irrelevant. How many bills that I've liked have passed one chamber, had the president's approval, and didn't get through? That's happened time and time. Grow up, Mr. President. That's part of our system.
It would have doubled the number of Border Patrol agents while giving undocumented a pathway to citizenship if they paid a fine, started paying their taxes, and went to the back of the line.
And again, look at this. Started paying their taxes. Didn't do anything about the 20 years that they've been in the country illegal and didn't pay taxes. They're getting a free bill of health. How many of us would love to, that have tax problems or whatever, would love to be able to say, well, the past is past. I'm going to start right now. Or give me a refund for the last 5 years of the taxes that I've paid. American citizens don't get this. But again, this is a red herring. Because how many of those senators that actually voted for that bill are no longer serving?
Independent experts said that it would help grow our economy and shrink our deficits. Had the House of Representatives allowed that kind of bill, a simple yes or no vote, it would have passed with support from both parties. And today it would be the law.
But that did not happen, Mr. President. You need to get over that. The other part of it is those numbers are disputed. You look at the Heritage Foundation bill, and it estimated that amnesty would cost this country $3 trillion.
For a year and a half now, Republican leaders in the House have refused to allow that simple vote. Now, I continue to believe that the best way to solve this problem is by working together to pass that kind of common sense law. But until that happens, there are actions I have full authority to take as president.
So basically, look at what he's actually blackmailing the nation. He's basically saying, if you don't agree with me, then I'm not going to work with you. If you don't give me what I want, I'm not going to work with you. And I'm going to go around the U.S. Constitution and do it myself. That is not a president. That is a dictator.
Kinds of actions taken by Democratic and Republican presidents before me that will help make our immigration system more fair and more just.
Again, it comes down to those very words, what is fair and what is just. If you're somebody that has waited 20 years to come to this country, how do you think that is fair or just? Yep, you're leapfrogging over somebody else. If you're somebody from Ethiopia that has 1/15 the standard of living as somebody from Mexico, are you going to think it's fair? Or somebody from Ethiopia, again, that has a 20-year less life expectancy than somebody from Mexico, are you going to think that's fair? If you talk to my business partner, who's from Ethiopia, he's lost 4 of his siblings to violence. Most recently, he lost a nephew that was trying to come to this country. I think if you talk to him about what is fair or what is just, you'd get a much different answer than what the president is doing. And in fact, that's probably one of the biggest problems with the president, is he's completely redefining what we believe is just and fair.